Hello everyone, welcome to this video. My name is Wycliffe. If you are new to R and you've just installed R, you will see this kind of screen. So you need to go here on top and select new file and then click R script. Okay, once you have the scripting window, here is where we are going to install our package. So if you have not installed it yet, you need to install dplyr package. And when we say you are installing dplyr package, we mean you are moving it from its repository on cron into your R so that you can make it use of it to wrangle your data. All right, for me, I have installed it, so I don't need to run that, and I will comment it out using the hash symbol, and then I will go straight to load the library, the dplyr. Okay. In this second video on dplyr, we are going to look at select function, and this is a function which enables us to pick columns of interest from a data frame. So somebody could have given you a big data frame of 1 million or 30 or 40 columns, and you only need 2 columns out of those, or you want only to pick numeric columns or specific columns. Not all columns are useful for you. So how do you do that? You don't need to save it as CSV or Excel or another data table and then start clicking each column and copying and pasting elsewhere. That is so laborious. So let's create a simple data frame. So I will create a data frame with somebody who is doing experiment in T in mind. So let's say you have several plots, and we will use paste function. If you check my previous video, I explained how the paste function enables us to create a vector of plot 1, plot 2, plot 3, plot 4, up to plot 5. And then from each of your experimental plots, you obtained some yield data. Let's say the first plot yielded 500 kilograms, the second one 150, the third one 250, the fourth one not available, and the fifth one maybe 400. On the other hand, you also took rainfall data from your experimental plots, and sorry, this one should be equal sign. This one should be equal sign, and this one should be equal sign. Okay, so for the rainfall at these fields or within these fields, you obtained 900, 1200, 900, 1100. You also obtained 1300 and 800 millimeters of rainfall for the year. And then you also went ahead and obtained soil pH. If you watch my previous videos about RGE, probably you are now comfortable using it to extract soil pH from different locations. And you noticed that the pH was 5.8, another place 6, another place 5.5, another location 6.3, and in the last plot, maybe 5.9 after measurements. Then you also obtained soil type. You can just go with type data, and noticed that in plot 1, it was more of loam. In plot 2, it was rather clay. In plot 3, it was rather sandy. In plot 4, again loam. And lastly, in plot 5, it was also more clay. So you have your complete data frame. And the data frame has got 5 columns and 5 rows. For example, if we type df, we can see the plot IDs, the columns, and the data sets. Okay, so this is like the Excel or the CSV or the data you obtained from the field in your field notebook, right? So how do we do selection in this? For example, if you want specific columns, you just say data frame and then that is pipe operator, which you get by Control-Shift-M, and then you select, right? Select plot ID and also select T in kilograms. Maybe you only need those 2 columns. So you can see in the console, we see only plot ID and T in kilograms. So select does that. This is not programming. This is nothing programming, which is people assuming is very difficult and nobody can understand. Even if you give your old great or grandfather or grandmother um, goats and sheep and cows, and then you tell the grandfather to select goats, they can do it. They can just select goats out of the goats, sheep, and cows. So that's the same thing we are doing here. It's only that we are now sitting and hitting keyboard. Otherwise, our grandmother could do this. Our grandfather or great 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 grandfather could select things. And that's why even we have edible food and non-edible food. Somebody did select without this function. Okay? So it's that simple. Then we may also want to select more. It doesn't have to be only two. You can still select more than two. So you just use select function, and then you say if it is plot ID, and auto-completion is even helping you. If you start typing rainfall, rainfall pops up and you just click enter. If you just type soil, soil type comes up and pH. So you pick the one you want. Like that. So we now have plot ID, rainfall, and soil type. So if this is what you want only out of that data somebody has given you or you've obtained yourself, then you can filter them and send them to whoever you want to. Okay? But what if you just want to exclude some columns? So we can use our data frame and then we select. We still use select function and then we say soil pH with minus at the beginning. So if we run that, we find that now we have our data frame without soil pH. So it's the same thing your great grandmother could tell you that select those things outside. Yeah, select them out. So maybe you have cowpeas, you have harvested cowpeas from the field and they have some sand with them. And then you're told, can you select the sand out of that cowpeas? So you are not throwing cowpeas, you are only throwing the sand and remaining with the cowpeas. So the great grandmother was using dplyr, a function called select, to instruct you. And it doesn't have to be one. You can deselect more than one thing, right? So you still use select, but then you say negative soil pH, for example, and again negative maybe soil type or rainfall or whatever you want to drop out from the data frame. So from your original data frame, you will remain with the columns that you want and you drop what you don't want. Okay. But if you look at this data frame, DF, there are some patterns. Some start with P, some start with T, some start with R, some start with soil. So we can use starts with function to even make our selection easier. For example, maybe all columns you want to select start with soil. So you can just say from my data frame, select everything which starts with, and it starts with underscore, starts with soil. Look at that. Very simple. Soil, 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 right? And this is the same way the teachers in primary school used to tell us, if your name starts with W, come forward, right? So even that teacher was doing programming in class with you. If your name starts with W, come forward. That was a selection. A selection aspect where starts with is used, and if your name doesn't start with W, you just keep sitting. But if your name starts with W, you come forward, and I think I came forward. Then, other than starts with, it can also be ends with. You can, I like that way of thinking. It is not just starts with. You can also say, if your name ends with kilograms, come forward. So T in kilograms is selected. If your name ends with kilograms, come forward. Nobody needs to know coding to understand this. You just need to reason. It's just logic that can be applied even in baby class. Even your babies, if you have babies or your sisters or your younger siblings in primary school, or even before primary, whatever is there before primary. If they are told, if your name starts with so and so, come forward, they stand up, but they don't do it in R. So what about you? But what about if it doesn't matter whether it starts with or it ends with, but it just contains it somewhere? Then we can use select contains. So if your name contains rain, come forward. Yeah. Or if your name contains fall, come forward. It's still rainfall. Or if your name contains pH, come forward. Soil pH. Right? So, or if your name contains oil, that is soil and soil type, come forward. All right. Um, we can also rename columns when selecting them, right? We can assign columns different names when selecting them. For example, we can say select maybe plot ID, and then also just plot is equal to plot ID. So in that way, the plot ID is selected, yes, but it is assigned the name plot. Now it is not called plot ID. So you can baptize it along the way, as you call it. You can tell it, take a new name, not your old name. Or select that as that, and then select tilde, come here as tilde, if you know you are T in kilograms. So you will have plot and tilde and not T in kilograms. So you can rename a column as you invite it or call it. All right. We can also play around with these columns. Let's say you want, currently, if you look at the DF, we have plot ID coming first and soil type coming last. So we can rearrange this soil type column to come even just after plot ID. So we can say, take DF and relocate it, right? Take DF and relocate soil type, okay? Relocate soil type, comma, dot after plot ID. So soil type will come just after plot ID. And this is something which you even realized when you are doing examination sometimes. When the teacher detects that there is something fishy going on, they can say, come and sit next to this person. You move from there, get relocated, get out of there, come and sit next to me here, or go and sit at the back, or do like that. So relocate, right? We can also relocate multiple columns. It doesn't have to be just soil type alone. We can say relocate everything which starts with maybe soil, and then relocate them dot after. You can put them dot after or dot before, after maybe last column. We also have last column there. Starts with, not really starts with soil. We need to close this. Those are some of the errors we noticed here. And then now we see that soil is, the soils come after the last column. Okay, they become the last columns. So they are thrown at the back. Maybe we can use T, and then you see T now becomes the last column. All right, so that is what I wanted to show in this video. You can see how you can use select function to play around with your columns, whether you want to rename the column to something different from what you had before, or you just want to put it after something or before something. You can use that and you can select them. It is not a big thing that you know how to select, and yeah, because it's something which happens on a daily basis at home. you do select a lot of things, you do filter a lot of things, but it's only that when we sit in front of a computer and we see some errors, we feel scared that we are doing something horribly wrong. But yeah, it's that super simple. Okay, that's it for today. That's it for today's dplyr verb. If you are a beginner and you want more simple structured problem focused tutorial, subscribe and join me tomorrow for the next verb. If you wish to get the script for this video, then click on the link in the description section of this video and it will take you to my GitHub repository where well-documented script sits. Okay, so thank you and happy coding. Bye-bye.